Well, there were 20 players.
Yeah, and then we had Doc and his wife, Ladine, traveled with us. And one player, Andy Westfall, brought his wife, Sandy. My name is George ECKARD. Played rugby at Cal from 1966 to 71. Played scrum half, member of the 1971 tour of Australia and New Zealand.
I'm Bud Lyons. I played rugby at the University of California from 1968 to 1971. I played hooker. I was a member of the 1971 tour to Australia and New Zealand.
My name is Ned Anderson. Played rugby for Cal 1966 through 1971. Captained the 1971 team on our tour to Australia and New Zealand. Became the head coach here at Cal in 1975 and coached through the 1985 season with my last 2 years as an assistant coach.
This is Glenn CALI. He was a reserve on the team that actually took on the trip as a manager, and great guy. I'm not sure where he is today, but I haven't seen Glenn in a while.
Dave PENHALL's next. Dave was the quarterback and our scrum half. He invented the torpedo pass, according to the Aussies. We see Dave every now and then. He lives in Southern California.
Yep. Comes up to big game and a few other events.
Who's this skinny guy with the chops?
Who would that be?
That's George ECKARD. George played scrum half.
Porterville Flash.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very solid player for us and great teammate.
BRIAN FORBES. Played a lot of positions. Great kicker. Probably one of the funniest guys on the team on that tour. He liked to play Where's Waldo. I think he showed up in about 2/3 of the pictures that were taken, but had a great sense of humor, and he's a great guy. We see him all the time. He's an attorney down in San Diego.
Yep.
I'll say the next one too. That's Randy Wilson. Randy was also known as Rocket J Squirrel. Randy was in the Delta House with me and Bud, and was a great inside back. And then the next one, Bud.
The next one is Captain Andy, Ned Anderson, number 73. It was
hearts and number 73 in the roster.
Ned was obviously a great leader and someone we all looked up to, but don't tell him that.
This is Jack Harris. Jack was a New Zealander that came over. Doc brought over, went to graduate school, and very experienced, solid player in our back line, and really solidified our back line. The next guy is Don Guest. Don was in dental school at the time, and he was eligible because he was in the dental school, but Don was a great player, considered really, because he'd been down to Australia and New Zealand the year before, one of the top wings in the world, and he showed up well for us on tour.
Thank God he was on the team.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next one is Steve FINAU from Tonga, and just a rock of a back. And we talked earlier about how Doc would bring in skilled players to coach others. Well, Steve taught a lot of us a lot about rugby.
Yep.
The next one is Tim Wilson. Tim played prop, I believe, didn't he, Ned?
Prop.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
And again, another rock solid guy. I mean, he was not too tall, but very wide, very strong, wonderful guy, great guy, and played with a great passion for the game.
And back here, this is Mark KLINK. Mark was a reserve forward. He was young to the game on our tour. He was also a football player and provided some real solid backup for us in the forwards. Bob Rogers is next to him. Bob was our number 8. Very good athlete, tough kid, worked hard, and was a solid starting player for us.
Next one is Bill Armstrong, another fellow Delp, who was our fullback and just played tremendously down there. I can't tell you how many times you'd hear Doc on the sidelines, "Go Army, go!"
Army was a big, really big guy for a back, very big and fast, and had a hell of a leg, and played center usually, I think, and I wouldn't want to tackle him. The next guy we could skip. Oh no, that's Bud. Bud was a great hooker. Always had his nose in the middle of things, and played with an incredible toughness. Great friend and teammate.
You know, Bud, I've heard Bud described as a bull in a china shop, and that's kind of how he played rugby, like a bull in a china shop.
Yeah.
I think that's a compliment.
It is a compliment.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then of course Doc.
Doc was a practicing dentist, and I think he worked for $1 a year or something.
Yeah.
And he would, you know, do his dental practice down here in Berkeley until like 3 o'clock, and then come up here and coach rugby till 6 or whatever, and then go home. And he did it just for the love of rugby. And you know, like you said, he did it for like 47 years.
43 years.
43 years.
Yeah. And Jeff Momsen's next to Doc. Jeff was a loose forward, big guy for a loose forward, 6'4", very, very active around the field, great athlete, really brought some exceptional athleticism to our team.
Terrific on the lineouts, remember?
Yeah.
He was unbelievable. In those days, you couldn't really lift like you can today, but
Yeah.
you could sneak in a lift once in a while, and it looked like every time he was being lifted, he could jump so high. He was a great lineout.
Next one is ERIC SWANSON, who was a prop in the front row with me. And he was a football player, hadn't played a lot of rugby, but he was an animal. And it was good to have him in that scrum, I'll tell you.
Eric was an all-Pac-8 offensive guard for the California Golden Bears. To give you a sense for the type of athlete that he was.
Next is Andy Westfall. Andy played some football. He was a great forward on our team. He was the kicker. Wonderful guy. We remain friends. His wife accompanied us on the team. He was, I think he was the only married guy on the team.
Well, and he ended up being the captain the next year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Then we have Diamond.
Diamond Jim Brady.
Jim Brady joined us late in the season. Was a tight end for the football team. Another real fine athlete, physically imposing guy, and really helped us on tour. Brought a lot of physicality to the game and to our team.
One of those guys that like to just run around and hit people.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Blaine Warhurst is next. Blaine was the youngest guy on the team.
Yep.
I think he was actually a freshman.
Yeah.
Probably, maybe 19 at that point. You could tell he was a great player then. Subsequently became a really good player and is still, you know, I think he's still involved in coaching rugby, but you know, he's come a long way since he was...
Very tough, very physical, and a great athlete.
Yeah. And then last is Loren TOEWS. We were just saying he should be in the Cal Athletic Hall of Fame for all of his accomplishments. I mean, he was a great football player at Cal, played linebacker. He had a perfect size, speed, and athletic ability to be a great rugby player, and just basically came out, what, a year, just that year, right?
No, he played after that. Oh yeah.
That
was his first year of rugby,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it took him about 15 minutes to pick up the game, and was a great rugby player, and then played for the Pittsburgh Steelers for a number of years, won 4 Super Bowl rings. So that speaks for itself.
I don't know if you remember who took the photo, but I know there's one player missing, George Copus, who was a reserve back.
Right.
Would he have been the photographer, possibly?
No, it was taken
so.
by one of the newspaper people, because this photo appeared in the newspaper in Brisbane, and I don't know where George was, but George was another scrum half on our team, a young player who actually didn't play much on tour, but became the starting scrum half, I think the year after or the year after that, and made some significant contributions to the team's that he played on.
And then we had other people that aren't in the picture, include Cliff Simmons, who we talked about, who joined us and was kind of the acting manager of the team. It was a great guy and added a lot to our trip. And
Paul Moeller.
It's not in the picture.
Yeah, Paul should have been in the picture.
Yeah.
They all should have been in. I don't
Yeah.
So he was probably doing something for us at the time
Yeah,
the picture
exactly.
was taken. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Great guys.